Hi everyone, welcome back to Metanoia. My name is Carrie Jane, and today we're going to be talking about the Numerology of July. But first, I would like to take a moment to thank my patrons. Thank you so much for supporting me through Patreon. It helps me more than you know. The other day I had $2 in my account. Thanks to you, I had 20. It doesn't seem like much, but a tank of gas is a lot. And you guys, you really help me out, even if it's just a small amount. And if you would like to become a patron supporter, look up the links in the description. Through there, you can actually get a monthly forecast from me, kind of like what we're going to be doing in this video, where we talk about the numerology of July. And also, keep in mind, this is a timeless playlist. This is not specific to 2020. And so if you're looking for something like that, that would be how you get that kind of reading from me, is through Patreon. And it's just $5 a month, although you can donate more. And even if it's just $1 a month, that really helps. So let's start talking about July. July is the number 7 in our calendar year. The core of the number 7 is analytics, synthesis, introversion, but it's also about seeking faith. And because of this, we dive into the topics such as everything involved in the non-material world, divinity, like divine stuff, which is a lot, as well as wisdom. It's a very kind of like wise number, getting into that kind of frame of mind, if that makes sense. So, what does this mean for the number 7 in the context of July? What step are we in the calendar year? What does this mean for us? But also, what can we do to make the most out of this month? So during this time of the year, we're kind of at the height of the season. For us in the Northern Hemisphere, it's now summertime. Often, this is the hottest month of the year. On the flip side, in the Southern Hemisphere, this can be, for some places, the coldest month of the year, depending on where you are. So we're at this level of extreme in our own seasons. And what we see happening is basically in the Northern Hemisphere, it's finally warm enough to do stuff. So we're definitely trying to take advantage of that. We're outside, we're having barbecues, but we're also asked to kind of slow down a bit because in some places it's extremely hot. You can't overexert yourself. And so we see this month kind of, because of that, because of the seasons and the cycle of nature, we slow down. And it becomes about experience. When you slow down enough, your reality becomes more about experience through the lens of kind of introversion. Because when you're running around trying to live your life and just taking it as it comes, you're not in a very introverted state. You're not in a mindful state. You're not in a wise state, as the 7 suggests. And you miss stuff. You miss the meaning. So what is the number 7 asking us this month? It's asking us, what is the meaning in what you're doing right now? And I just started with the Northern Hemisphere, but for the Southern Hemisphere, perhaps it's a different situation. Maybe it's cold out now, so you're spending more time indoors. Maybe there's something fulfilling there that you can finally pursue because of that. I know parts of Australia, it's not so much that it gets super cold that they gotta stay indoors like it is for us, but perhaps they finally get to kind of enjoy some aspects of being outside because it's not sweltering hot anymore. It's kind of like a nice cool level that is comfortable, so perhaps they get to enjoy life in another way because of that. It becomes about meaning, okay? And I think that it's very important in this month to just remember that no matter what you're doing. I could give you specific instructions on what to do this month, but wherever you are in your life, depending on this year, it's going to be something very different. Whatever it is, don't feel guilty to take time for yourself if that's what you need. Don't feel guilty to slow down and take some time to sit or read by the pool. Don't feel guilty to take a day off so that you can just enjoy yourself, maybe take a swim somewhere. Wake up early to see the sunrise. Sleep in if that's what you need. What matters most is where is the meaning in that and what you're doing. Perhaps people are enjoying a break from the heat and it is allowing them to slow down enough to do something else. A lot of people go on vacations this month, but perhaps you finally want to expand your awareness on something. So you start like a reading regimen on something very specific, a study. Whatever it is, the function of July is to help us develop a deeper context to whatever it is that we're doing, and ultimately a deeper context to the year itself. 7 is also often very much about natural beauty. So my advice is to also take time to enjoy that wherever you are. It feels silly saying that right now because I need that every month of my life to feel normal. But not everyone is like that. You know, some people do thrive being indoors a lot. Some people do thrive in urban environments where it's like it's okay that they don't see the sky or the trees or the mountains for a long period of time. They just do well. Maybe step out of your comfort zone for a bit and take a break from that. I've never been like that. That's insane to me. But it doesn't mean that it's wrong. So if you're not a person to normally make the time for something like going on a walk or seeing something new outside or doing something new outside, July always is the best time, I think, to do this in context of the calendar year at least. And also, if you're in the northern hemisphere, it might be really hot outside to do such activities, so don't overexert yourself. Wake up early is my suggestion. I know myself specifically, like we live in a very extreme place where it's like freezing cold, but also it's just so humid and hot in one year. It's insane. So especially now, I've noticed that we have less spring and fall and more just winter and summer. Like the in-between seasons have kind of diminished where I live, at least. I don't know what it's like for you wherever you live, but we don't much have a spring anymore. It kind of just goes from being freezing cold to really hot now. So that's kind of besides the point. But I hope that whatever you're doing this month has a level of significance that wasn't allowed to come about for whatever reason, okay? It will require your focus and your attention. And that is also associated with the number 7, because the number 7 is a very intellectual number, and I think that's why it becomes about exploration and it becomes about experience, because you need those kinds of things to develop a deeper capacity for understanding and for synthesis and for all these things that come with the number 7. Before I wrap up this video, I'd also like to just quickly mention that it's okay if you feel like you want to step back a little bit from family and friends. Maybe you were kind of overwhelmed with plans on some level. You know, as soon as summer comes, it's like everyone's throwing their parties and doing their stuff, and you get invited to a lot of things. And then you go to a lot of it, and it's a good time, but it's also good to take some time for introversion, okay? So, I mean, that's kind of obvious with what I have already said, but it's worth mentioning. Don't feel guilty to say no to plans. It's totally fine as long as you fill it up with something that is more meaningful to you. And also, I think that I often talk about holidays in these videos in basically the context of the number of the month that we're in. And we don't really have many holidays this month. The only holiday that we have is 4th of July. And 4th of July is just for America. And it's kind of a new holiday. It's relatively new, at least compared to something like Easter or Christmas. And I don't know how, honestly, this fits into the context of this month, because it's supposed to be about celebrating independence, which makes sense to me in the context of this number 7. But the thing is that it hasn't become that in America. It's basically just about blowing shit up, pollution, and red meats. And if you can't tell already, I'm not a fan of 4th of July. It's a lot of noise. And to me, like, it's loud and obnoxious. And I guess I'm very un-American. I'm very unpatriotic. But at the same time, Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays. So I'm not really into the excessive patriotism when I see myself as a human being on planet Earth, like as a citizen of Earth instead of my country. So I think that the holiday deep down means something more than that. It just became this because this is America right now, and how it always has been, really, is like an inflated sense of self and entitlement and ego. But I'm sure that's not how the holiday was made. I'm sure it was just a sort of checkpoint of victory in our history, where we could say we're finally independent and our own country, and it's just lost. I think something about that holiday is lost, and I think it happened quickly to us, and I would like to hear your thoughts. On 4th of July, a lot of you are getting really good at numerology. Not just because you're watching my content and remembering it, but because you've read a lot of stuff on your own, online, and books. You've listened to a lot of other videos. You've done your own homework. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about the significance of independence in this month of 7. And I don't know, I think somewhere in there is a holiday that has some deep-seated truth about taking our lives into our own hands. And I'm sure at that point in history, that was the most meaningful thing that you could have, honestly. I'm sure for them, when July came and we finally had this official sense of independence, they explored the deeper meaning of that. What that means for the rest of us, for, going on forward, for our children, and for our livelihoods. So kind of cool to think about it like that. But I'm also, like I said, curious to hear about what you guys have to say and what you guys feel. So that's all I have to say for July for now. And please check out the links in the description, like I said in the beginning of the video. Thank you all so much. I'll see you soon. Take care, guys.